The NHL just made it official, and if you're an Oilers fan, this one feels good. Two names from Edmonton landed on the league's All-Star Teams Friday morning, and honestly, neither one should come as a surprise, but that doesn't make it any less satisfying to hear out loud. Let's start with the guy who's been doing this so long that records are starting to feel routine. Connor McDavid is on the NHL First All-Star Team again. His sixth time on the first team. 6. And before you let that number wash over you like it's just another statistic, let's actually sit with what that means in the context of hockey history. McDavid now shares that spot with Gene Beliveau, Phil Esposito, and Stan Mikita, 3 names that belong in every serious hockey conversation ever had. The only player ahead of him is Wayne Gretzky, who claimed that top center spot 8 times. And here's the thing, McDavid is 29 years old. He's not done. Not even close. The voting wasn't close either. McDavid pulled in 118 first-place votes from the Professional Hockey Writers Association. Nathan MacKinnon, who is himself a generational talent, and someone who made the second All-Star team this year, finished 41 votes behind. 41. That's not a tight race. That's a statement. The writers who cover this league every single night, who watch every shift and every line change, looked at the entire NHL and said, yeah, it's still him. It's still Connor McDavid. Now, this season had a little extra meaning attached to it because McDavid actually missed out on an All-Star selection last year. That 2024-25 campaign was the first time in years he didn't earn a spot, and for a player at his level, that kind of thing doesn't sit well. So, what did he do? He came back and put up 138 points, 48 goals and 90 assists, league-leading numbers, a performance that reminded everyone exactly who they were dealing with. This was his 6th straight season with at least 100 points, and he did it while carrying an Oilers team through a full 82-game schedule plus a playoff run. Earlier this month, he took home the Ted Lindsay Award for the 5th time. That's the one voted on by the players themselves, his peers, the guys who line up against him every night and feel firsthand what it's like to try and contain him. 5 times they've looked around the league and said he's the most outstanding player in the game. 5 times. And he just narrowly missed the Hart Trophy this year, finishing second behind Tampa Bay's Nikita Kucherov. Second, on a year where he led the league in scoring. That tells you something about how loaded this era of hockey has been at the top. When you look at everything McDavid has collected since entering the league, the list reads like something a video game would flag as unrealistic. 5 Ted Lindsay Awards, 3 Hart Trophies, 6 Art Ross Trophies, 1 Maurice Rocket Richard Trophy, a Conn Smythe Trophy, and now 8 NHL All-Star Team selections. All at 29 years old, all with likely the best years of his career either happening right now or still ahead of him. The conversation about where he lands in the all-time rankings is one that hockey fans are going to be having for decades, but what's clear right now is that anyone watching closely isn't waiting for that conversation. They already know what they're looking at. And then there's the Olympics. While we're talking about McDavid's season, we can't skip over February when he went to Milan and represented Canada on the biggest international stage the sport offers. He led the entire tournament in scoring 13 points in 6 games. That's not a cameo. That's dominance in a compressed format against the best players from every hockey nation on the planet. McDavid showed up, took over, and reminded the world that the gap between him and the field doesn't disappear when the sweater changes. But now, let's talk about the other Oiler who made the list, because Evan Bouchard's inclusion on the second All-Star team is the kind of moment that deserves its own spotlight. This is Bouchard's first NHL All-Star selection. First one. And he earned it the hard way by quietly putting together one of the best defensive seasons any Oilers defenseman has had in a very long time. 21 goals, 74 assists, 95 points total, all career highs. He averaged nearly 25 minutes of ice time per game, played all 82 regular season games, and did it as a cornerstone of an Edmonton blue line that needed him to show up every single night. The second All-Star team on defense this year featured Bouchard alongside Rasmus Dahlin, with Cale Makar and Zach Werenski taking the first team spots. Makar, arguably the best defenseman in the league, so no shame in landing on the second team behind him. What matters is that the writers who covered every game this season looked at every defenseman in the NHL and put Bouchard in the top 4. That's not a consolation prize. That's recognition that he belongs in that conversation. What makes Bouchard's season even more impressive is the consistency. This is the third time in 4 seasons that he's played all 82 games. That tells you something about his durability and his compete level, because it's easy to rack up points when you're healthy, but you have to actually be available to do it. He was available every night. In the playoffs, he kept it going, 6 points in 6 games, which extended his streak to 4 consecutive postseasons with at least a point-per-game pace. That's elite production in the highest pressure moments the sport has, and it's exactly the kind of player the Oilers need alongside McDavid if they're going to make serious noise when the games actually matter most. One notable absence from Bouchard's year was a spot on Team Canada for the Olympics. Despite his numbers and his performance, he didn't get the call while McDavid was front and center in Milan. That's a tough pill. When you're having the season Bouchard had and you still don't crack the Olympic roster, it speaks to both how competitive that selection process is and how stacked Canadian hockey remains at every position. But if there's a silver lining, it's this. Bouchard took that regular season and turned it into the best individual campaign of his career, and now he has an all-star selection to show for it. The recognition came, just through a different door. 2 Oilers, 2 all-star nods. One franchise that continues to sit at the center of the NHL conversation year after year, driven by a captain who refuses to stop being the best player on the planet and a defenseman who finally got the league-wide acknowledgement his game has been demanding. McDavid chasing Gretzky's record. Bouchard cementing himself as one of the elite blue liners in the game. Edmonton's story this season isn't finished being written, but Friday morning added another line to it, and it's one worth reading twice.